If they want to take into the offlane, that could work as well. But the Earth Spirit, it reveals a lot, and as you mentioned, still not great D-push. Good team fight. Kind of rough on the dealing with keeping those lanes pressured.
It shores up their lanes though, and they can also gank their draw ranger with it. Oh, yeah, the problem is the Clockwork pick came out immediately after, and yeah, Ogre is seen as a pretty strong roamer, but Clockwork is, I would say, stronger than both of these heroes at the moment. Bat Rider coming out for Virtus.Pro. One very, very good way to deal with the draw ranger. Just high ground is almost impenetrable. The faceless void Bat Rider, as long as they have their decent items. So now they're going to reel it back in a little bit, not putting the pressure on them to push the high ground early. Shadow Fiend that skills throughout the entire game, and the Clockwork SF. Many expected it to be patched out, but it has not been, and it will continue to wreak havoc on those mid laners that depend on.
5 seconds.
It's a close matchup, I would say, but one of the best mid laners, Abed. Yeah, maybe even better. I would say. I don't. That's tough. I would say probably Abed's better mechanically in the early game, but no one's generally more solid in the late. But I mean, no one's still very mechanically skilled.
I mean, this looks like the quintessential DC draft too, though. You have all these heroes that are enabling Abed to kind of go off in this game. He's going to be a Shadow Fiend starting with around like 12 to 15 souls, and then also Drow Ranger aura on top of that. What do you even pick to try and deal with it? Do you need to like a lean or something?
Well, I think firstly you need to keep on the Silencer. If Silencer gets big, you're going to have a really tough time. Because you're not going to be able to like kill him at the start of the fight, and he's going to be able to do a lot of damage and position himself well for global. And Shadow Fiend, you kind of just have to accept he's going to have a lot of fun. He's going to have damage from Clockwork Souls, and he's going to have a lot of damage from the Drow Ranger. So, like, how do you outlane like a 80 damage Shadow Fiend in the early game? You're just not going to be able to. So, I mean, they do have a good anti-BKB piercing control, or BKB piercing control in the Faces of Void Ultimate and the Bat Rider Ultimate. So that's already pretty good. I think they just need, right now, just a right clicker in the mid lane to synergize with Bloodlust. Trying to think of the heroes that would be good for them. Shadow Fiend would probably be pretty good for themselves. TA is like okay, I would say. Actually, TA is pretty good here. I wouldn't mind TA so much. I'm trying to think of any other heroes that are good right clickers in them. Because you want Bloodlust. You don't draft Ogre without a hero to blood. Sniper's already been banned.
You don't think Lena's something where it's just more attack speed on top of attack speed?
So you get diminishing return.
Yeah.
So I also don't like it that much versus a lean. Think of what else. I guess Storm's okay, but it's not that great with the Faceless Void. I don't know. It's hard to think of ranged, good right clickers that can synergize well with
DC's turn to pick.
Faceless Void. I guess maybe okay, they banned TA, so that one's out.
At your service.
Oh, is that a Forev Wind Ranger, or is that a Bulbul Wind Ranger?
They'll probably see what the matchup is in the top lane.
Yeah.
But I would prefer the Clockwork, I think, to
10 seconds remaining.
I don't think Wind Ranger's that great of a roamer.
Could you like dual lane them together, I guess, too?
Now select your heroes.
Well, Viper's a good matchup. Versus SF. It's okay, I would say 1-on-1. It's about I would say maybe even just a tiny bit SF favored in the early game, but Clockwork plus Drow will just make this early game very difficult. So it will be for Ev support and Boba. Wait, yeah, okay, sorry, offlane Wind Ranger. Yeah, I think Wind Ranger needs levels a lot more badly than the Clockwork does.
Well, game number 1 soon to be underway. Virtus.Pro facing off against Digital Chaos here in the first game of Group B. International. I think that we're the quickest since that LGD Fnatic game finished up pretty quickly. And yeah, are you thinking that the DC have what it takes here against what I'm sure is the favorite in Virtus.Pro?
I personally like DC's lineup a decent amount more. It's just the Wind Ranger I have a big question mark about. There's a ton of ways to deal with it. Like the Silence is really good, the Bat Rider's pretty good, and you don't want your Wind Ranger to be poor to the point where she might as well have been a support, and I'm worried that's what's going to happen to Forev this game. She does have Drow Aura, so I guess that kind of makes up for it. So that's the only hesitation I have with choosing DC over Virtus.Pro. But Drow Ranger, it looks like a pretty good Drow Ranger game. Drow lineup game, rather.
I'm really interested to see if they if Wind Ranger's going to be able to bully the Ogre at all with that extra damage that you were talking about, because that would be normally the way that you play one of these like ranged offlaners with Drower, right? Is you punch the support, force them back, and then you're secured a decent amount of levels and everything else. But Ogre is obviously known for being hard to bully around. He's a big bad bruiser.
Yeah, I don't know if you want your Ogre over there though to deal with the Wind Ranger. You want him to deal with the SF. Right,
oh,
that's the hero that you actually want to keep down in his early game. So, normal cog shenanigans coming out in the early game. I'm trying to do my predictions quickly. Who's going to get a lot of kills?
It's got to be Abed, right? I don't know. No one is also just a monster.
Most kills in the first 10 minutes.
Nine souls here for Shadow Fiends. I think he used to be able to get up to 18. It's not super easy though, because then you have to like sacrifice a bounty rune potentially. And I love this play by VP. This is like the big classic thing that's been going on against Shadow Fiend Clockwork, is you try and roam in and kill him as he's going for the bounty rune. But it looks like DC sort of prepared for this. They brought 4 heroes to try and protect Abed.
And ooh, it looks like they were going to try and approach from the south, but they are approaching from the north. Bulba is going to go up in front.
Trying to man the front of this. He will have cogs. Abed is there. He's going to walk forward, get scouted out by all of them. Bulba ended up walking back away. Can he separate them? He is going to be able to with the jump forward, and Abed possibly going to die. Fairy Fire keeps him alive, but he will have to head back home. Now can no one get out of here? Not going to happen. Dubu drawing first blood. -2 for that Viper. See if they can block off Solo as well. Bulba gets the body blocks, getting all that movement speed from the boots, and DC striking first. 2-0 to begin.
Whew. They didn't even kill Abed. He did have to use a Fairy Fire, but he already has 15 souls, so he's okay with that. And no one already died in the mid lane. I believe he did give up some intel, and it looks like 2 heroes that get enough intel. Silencer stating at a whopping 38 seconds into the game.
Well, we'll see if they can get Mason. The roll-in was a little bit slow. I'm not sure if he dropped a boulder there, if he even wanted to. He just wanted to get into lane to punch him a few times, but it is sort of a little bit of a weird dynamic now, because it's Mason left alone for the moment since they had to go and protect the Shadow Fiend, but now he's back in lane. Do you expect no one to have a really rough time in this matchup from this point forward?
Not too much, because they don't, like, how do you actually kill him? You need Clockwork to wrap around behind, and Clockwork is showing in lane. So he should be okay for a little bit of time. If Viper ever really feels scared, Shadow Fiend can just, or he can just run back. It's not like Shadow Fiend can stun himself. It's mostly just all on Bulba. And looks like Ogre is going to be sitting around the mid lane. I would say more on the top lane is where we want to look. Is Pasha going to be able to put pressure on Mason? Because Mason, do not want Drow Ranger to get level 6 early, because that's going to make your problems even worse.
As it stands, I mean, Abed is hitting for 89 damage at this early point in time in the game. It is quite hard to deal with. But that being said, no one here. 5-4 so far, and that's kept Abed back at least for the moment. With the creep wave going to be pushing in a little bit, I believe. They're doing a good job of keeping it there, even though there's the 2 ranged.
Still 90 damage though.
Yeah. They're pushing him back again. This is not the easiest thing in the world, and Bulba's going to have to come back here again to help him.
Yeah, he's a self, so he's fine. And yeah, this lane should, I would say, be a wash at this point. No one doesn't have any mana left, so Abed can actually maybe pull ahead a little bit in CS. Pasha is getting a lot though out of this top lane. He doesn't really feel scared at all.
It is going to be Lil heading down to get the bounty rune, so he's alone for the moment, but even still able to stay here and you know, make sure that he's getting levels in spite of it. Bottom lane, 1v1 matchup, Ferev versus the Faceless Void. It seems like, for the moment, Ferev's been able to handle a pretty decent time staying away from the Faceless Void and just dealing little bits of chip damage to him. Yep.
I was thinking about other offlaners that are ranged, and it's really only
Is Abed dead? What? Oh man, that's really not good. He just got ran down.
The double slow?
Yeah.
The 1-1-1. Oh, there goes most of his souls. Now at 9.
But other offlaners you were saying that could have been good in that situation?
Yeah, it's really just Puck, but they first banned Puck. So that's pretty much the only two offlaners that you can see with the Drought Aura.
And I mean, it does feel like it's going to be okay for the moment, at least. He's level 4, having himself a decent time and topping the CS charts about 6 ahead of that Void. I mean, it's still looking like it's a pretty decent start at this point for DC. It's just that Abed is still sitting only at 7 last hits for himself.
Yeah, he is just kind of just sitting at tower, not really doing that much.
I don't know, is this like a problem? Like, it feels as if he's missing a couple of these CS that aren't like fully contested, or is it just that it's how scared you have to play against Viper?
I think the Ogre had a big part to do with it. He like kept pulling the wave back towards his side in the position that the creep wave would have forced Abed to come down into the river, which just never really where you want to be.
More damage going in. Lil is chasing Mason down. 4 stacks on top of him, and DC going to lose their carry. It looks like Pasha will die, so that's a +2 for Dubu. Currently sitting with 6 stolen intel. Boba also did get a haster, and he might be trying to wrap in here in a little bit. But looks like he has to wait for that perfect opportunity, and now maybe is that moment. Hastes worn off. He can't get in there in time.
They definitely need Bulba to make some more moves. He did a really good job of preventing the first blood happening, but he is not really doing a good job after that of making sure that Abed gets his farm, and he's trying to stack right now, it looks like, for Shadow Fiend. And that's really, I would think, the best move for him, especially with the creeper in this position, and with that Observer Ward placed by Solo. There's very little room to gank no one.
Looks like also Lil is showing up here. They will spot out that means there's a ward up on the high ground. I don't even know if Lil dropped a boulder for that one. Like, as soon as they realized what was happening, he just decided to give up on it and scout out that there was a ward, there was a ping, and might even go to deward that in a little bit.
Yep. Now Viper's almost 6 too, so he can threaten solo kills on SF all the time now. Just needs a TP scroll on Abed to feel a little bit safe.
Down bottom, Solo and Lil, this dynamic duo of like melee supports, they keep on moving around and sort of forcing whoever is there back and away. Looks like Frev was just going to the shrine, still saving that point for the moment and getting the maxed out power shot. What's really going to be like the goal of Frev in this game? Is he just like a lane pusher and a eventually tower taker? Does he have to be DPS?
Cool. Wind Ranger with Drower is always DPS. I mean, he does have that long duration stuns though. They don't actually have that much lockdown in their team, so he can have those long duration disables that you need.
Well, the sun silence. Okay. Trying to get out of there. Yeah, and he'll make that escape. So good decision there. He'll power shot Solo as well on his way out. Does have 9 stick charges as well.
Right now, I think the Wind Ranger's main job is just to be pain in the ass to the Void. Like, Void can't really go on a Wind Ranger. Anytime you go up to him, he's just going to Wind Run. And even if you want to Chronosphere him, you have to worry about the instant cast Wind Run coming out before. So, like, but you need to disable him at some point, or else he's going to land a shotgun and you're going to die. So it's not easy for him. And on top of that, Ramsey has to deal with 2 other forms of silence.
Oh, nicely done there. Can he get out? They're trying to chase in for this one. He will not have time lock for another 7 seconds, but Lil is there to keep his carry alive. We'll see if they can power shot. Not quite on the mark. That means that Ramses will escape.
Dire are scattered.
Tanked up a few hits just so he could keep that siege creeper alive. That was worth half his HP, it looks like, and is it going to be enough to keep the tower alive? That flame break.
Wanted to do it. It's taken and dealing a good bit of damage here, but oh, it looks like they're going to have to back out yet again. Pasha making sure that they aren't able to take that tier 1 tower. So we're about 7.5 minutes in. It's only been 2 to 3 as far as the kills are concerned. And in terms of net worth, it's Virtus.Pro with a slight lead, but it does feel like, at least for the moment, DC are coming up on a timing when they can maybe start to group together and burn through these towers. Do you think that that's sort of the look, the way the game needs to go for them?
Not when SF at this poor. Look at the net worth on SF. He's half Vipers.
Jeez.
Yeah, so they need stacks for him to catch up. And ideally some Dragonkin spawns on the side so that he can just triple raise those and get back into the game. Because right now he's poor. He did have 90 damage at the start, but it has not been enough to even come close to dealing with Viper in the early game. So yeah, he has jungle time. There's a triple stack there, but unfortunately no other stacks for him. They really need these T1 towers so that SM can buy some more time.
So is what we're learning here that an ogre in a lane is worth more than like Clockwork, Cogs Abuse, and Drow Range Aurora, or was this just no one sort of outplaying Abed, do you think?
I think it's just Viper being one of the best lane dominators in the game.
Okay.
So that hero is dreaded in any matchup.
People talk always about how they don't like playing it, but I guess if you come away and win a lane that hard, it's you like winning more than you like not playing Viper.
Yep. Sure. It might have been a misclick in the mid lane too. Look at this observer ward inside the middle of the river.
Oh.
He might have meant to place a sentry ward there, and then instead they have. It looks like a misclick because they already have an observer on the high ground, and you generally just don't place wards inside the river.
Yeah, normally not. That's not the way that Dota's usually played. Oh, VP.
That's the funniest thing when you're like playing with someone newer and you're like, okay, we need vision on top rune, and then they just place a ward on top of the rune.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Well, you can see up top here too. It's going to be a quick kill. Wind run got off, but when you bring 4 heroes like that, it's going to happen. I mean, I think I placed. There's one time where I accidentally placed 2 sentries, but it actually turned out there were 2 observer wards.
Uh-oh, Bulba.
He's in trouble too. Solo, no point up and no mana currently for Fire Blast, so that will be the Clockwork escaping. And Dubu actually is going to scout out Pasha. This would be a decent kill for him, getting a nice little bit of intel again. He's starting to burn down a little bit low, but the juke around the trees means they will not find him.
Top tower is under attack.
Pasha getting away with one there.
So clarity, or sorry, his Trankles are still up too, so that's good. Ramsey's getting a lot of time. Looks like he might be able to get this top tower down. I mean, he's getting a lot of damage on it. This is the Faceless Void who had a really rough early game, but now he's number 2 on net worth. Ramsey's solid performance.
Very happy with that one for sure. It is SF caught up a little bit. He's still, you know, a decent chunk, about 1,000 gold behind the Viper. But there are other heroes that are sort of making up for that as well, and it is Drow Ranger 6 that's online now as well. So the extra damage coming in to all those heroes will make this jungling a little bit more rapid.
We still need a lot more farm on SF. He's getting particularly lucky with the spawns. He has a lot of magic resistance creeps, but no one has felt no pressure this game. He just sits in mid and just right-clicks the SF with impunity. No one even thinks about touching him.
And has that health talent as well, so he's at 1,700 HP as well as 9 armor on him. He is very hard to deal with. Bottom lane though, maybe going to be something to happen, and Pasha has shown up to help out the Earth Spirit. Is he going to end up dying to that Arcane Curse? It does look like he's going to end up going down to Dubu, but Mason too might be the one that ends up falling. Frev trying to find something in return. He will have another power shot in 3 seconds. Can he actually manage to find Pasha? He's going to shoot one off, and instead they'll chase after Solo. So they do get out on the Bat Rider, and they only end up losing the 2 supports.
Looks like Drow Ranger wasn't able to spend all her gold before dying, unfortunately, so Mason will be set back a decent amount from the death. And with that, Pasha should be able to get his Blink right now. He didn't die in that last skirmish. That's great for VP.
Yeah, really great. And, you know, he's a hero that has a lot of other damage on the rest of his team, I would say, particularly no one at this point. So, you know, he can find those pickoffs with the Blink Dagger. Sometimes you run into issues where the rest of your team doesn't have that damage. Solo going to place down a couple wards, get fantasy points for all those people out there.
Heck yeah.
Doesn't quite find Mason though.
Who'd you put in your fantasy lineup?
I don't know. I think I put Cuckoo in. Although for supports, yeah, I don't remember. I'll have to check in between games. That's the real meta though. Figuring that stuff out. Nobody from Group B, because they have 2 games versus 3 games for all Group A. I thought that was going to be a roll-in, but just trying to clear through the trees, make sure that nobody is scouting over there.
He thought that they had a reserve ward in between the T1 and T2, and they saw Bulba running up, but he almost ran up the cliff, but he just backed down at the last second. Looks like Dubu placed a ward, and they know exactly where it is. And Bob will try to scout a little bit with the rocket flare, and we'll also see
Dire's
where
middle
Virtus.Pro
tower
is.
is under attack.
Vision,
Dire's
solo coming in.
structures are fortified.
I'd,
Radiant's
see if they
bottom
can make
tower
something
is
happen
under
against that
attack.
SF, but it looks like for now DC just going to give up the tower. They don't want to fight if they know that they're going to end up losing the engagement. Hold off, get yourself some more farm on that
Radiant's
SF, and
bottom
then take the
tower
fight that
is
you
under
want.
attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, no one is crushing these towers though. Max Nether Toxin.
Are they going to be able to force a fight here? Got a lot of heroes in the area. Oh, that was a nice play. Ends up breaking the Blink Dagger. He will have it back up again in a second, but the Shackle onto 2 as well. Might be able to find 1 kill here and just get out. We'll see if it's indeed going to be the case or not. Bulba instead is just going to have to be the one that ends up falling. Ramsey's going to be able to run him down. But, you know, you take that gank. Get the rest of the team out of there.
They did blow global for that though. And Wind Ranger was unable to connect on that last power shot, going for the super risky build on the Orchid first. This is a Mason special himself.
Time is money.
I think
So-
he likes it. Might have influenced Forev a bit.
What's the thought behind this build here? What's the big play?
Probably deal with the Void, I would say. But they already have multiple silences, so it's overlapping different silences. And secondly, it gives you no defensive ability.
Top lane also, they found Abed, is going to get chronoed mid-animation, ends up dropping. So lasso chrono used, but it's big for another hefty blow to the Shadow Fiend. He's still far behind, but you do see that there's like,
Bottom lane.
it's not incredibly. All right, nice pick off there. Frev's going to end up going down. Bulba trying to see if he can kill off no one. Mason almost dead as well. He is going to end up being able to find that kill, but died afterwards. Help indeed.
That was a 4v1,
Oh my
and
god.
he killed 2 of them.
So what you're saying is that no one's pretty big right now. Hard man to take down.
They just don't really have the damage without SF there. Drow went for Lance first. Lance is okay on Drow if you're actually hitting towers, but there's still a lot of towers up, and I don't think they're strong enough to just straight up push like that. But it is useful for Pike. Pike extremely useful against Space's Void, and I don't know. I still see Viper being a big issue. I like Silver Edge a lot versus Viper. You get rid of corrosive skin, and you also just limit his damage output, and you can actually kill him super easily without poisoning your entire team.
And they will have global up again, but like you said, if they do end up, you know, being able to find that Viper, we saw what happened last time. Granted, that was without global, but a lot of these things don't really matter that much because they're all passives anyway, so he doesn't care about global silence.
Nope.
So DC, again, searching for an answer. In your eyes, what's that like item? Because Shadow Fiend's also going for a Dragon Lance, and that's just sort of more stats, right? Does he need to like wait for a BKB or something like that before he's able to fight? Or some other big damage item possibly?
I don't think he can wait for BKB.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other item you go. I say Silver Edge, but Shadowblade is going to even be a long time coming, let alone a Silver Edge, so I don't think that's the item to wait
Radiant
for.
are scared.
What other things are we talking about? Wind Ranger, I guess, is going for Orchid, but I actually don't foresee Orchid making that big of a difference. It might get like 1 or 2 kills at the start, but Face's Void already going for Manta style. He knows he's up against Global Silence and at least 1 other Silence in the Drow Ranger, so he's kind of already well protected, I would say, against the Orchid.
Alright, well, DC did just spot that the Ogre TP'd in bottom, so they realize they're not going to be able to make a defensive rotation
Dire's
with
top
the Ogre
tower
at the
is
very
under
least,
attack.
and they're going to try and wrap around, see if they can find somebody else, and Pasha would be a pretty tasty pick-off. It looks like if they want to, they could go for that Arcane Curse. No, he blinks away! They scout it out. Oh, and that would have been a big moment if DC could have found that pick-off. Still might have been tough since he was under tier 1 tower. Jump forward, Pasha, he's going to pull back in. The Wind Ranger, Global Silence is there, so they won't be able to chrono afterwards. And, well, never mind. They chrono him immediately after the Global Silence wears off, and now that's going to be Forev brought down. One of the best D-push tools, and VP immediately running towards the Roche pit.
I thought this Wind Ranger was going to pay off a lot more for them considering their early start. But I think going for the Orchid, like even a mech I think would have been pretty useful for a team so they can actually have more team fight and not all die to the Viper. But I think the Orchid is just, it's too one-dimensional in that it's trying to deal with the Faceless Void, but it can't even deal with the Faceless Void. I mean, maybe a fast Bloodthorn would actually be okay because everyone critting sounds okay, but the problem is you just die. You just get lassoed and they had to blow Global immediately, and then you have no mobility after. You can't actually run in and out of the fights at ease. Maybe when you get level 20 with the invisibility on the Wind Run.
And I mean, the other thing is, it's not even, you're still going to have to commit Global in a little while to deal with it because Void is going to have Manta Style soon. So even dealing with him is not going to be particularly easy. Orchid alone is not enough. It does definitely feel like DC do not have that many options available for them, but VP, you know, they've been looking really solid and constantly making the right rotations, good reads.
They buffed up their Viper. I think that's a big difference between VP and DC this game. They look like they were about to get SF off to a really good start, preventing his first blood, giving him a lot of souls with a Drow aura, and then in the mid game he just completely falsified and is unable to do any damage at all.
And this is like, you know, quintessential too. You can just stay down here in the lane and there's nothing that they can do to really touch him. The nice part about Wind Ranger here is, you know, the low cooldown, the 4 mana regen. You should be able to keep the lanes pushed out. But Pasha now with the 4 staff used, caught back up again with the Blink Dagger, the roll in from Lil, the stun, the kick, the kill. No one on a killing spree. I mean, you sort of take those deaths though, right? Like, I don't know. It feels like there's just no other way to do it. You have to keep the lanes pushed.
Ideally. I'd say there are better ways, like power shotting from the fog, arcane curse from the fog, using Drow aura. There are a lot of ways I think they can do it without feeding away deaths. I think if it's a support, it's okay, but Wind Ranger, you need items on her. Well, maybe not Orchid, but other items. The thing about Orchid is like it has to be like the perfect setup too. Like potentially you could Orchid a Bat Rider before he lassos on top of you, potentially, but that's really high risk as opposed to things like Maelstrom, Blink, which is a pretty safe build. Blinkins, I think it holds some value in this game too, so you don't get lassoed. Like these are pretty good items that are generally just very safe. Like you're not gonna get you're gonna get value out of the item even if you die. For like Orchid, you're not gonna get value out of it if you die, and it's I think I kind of foresee his game being shut down too. I honestly don't see where it's gonna go now that Raven already has his Manta Style, and even if he's super afraid of the silence, he can still go for BP. Right? And I don't think he really needs to, but if he just wants Pasha, or sorry, no one to do all the damage, why not?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Well, certainly it's a tough situation to be in right now for DC. VP for them, it's going to be tier 2 towers across the map that want to be taken next. You still have the Aegis for another 2 minutes. Do you think that they are in any rush at all to try and like go for a quick tier 3 tower, or do you just go around and finish off all the tier 2?
Well, you know Wind Ranger is going to be useless. You know SF had a really tough game, and you still have very good anti-BKB. But they're far enough ahead that they can at least knock on it. They still have the Aegis for quite some time. Viper sitting at 2,400 HP with Strength Red.
And he also went for the Agi talent too, so it's not like he's lacking a ton of damage. The Sange is there, the Hurricane Pike, and
he has plus 50 agility.
Yeah.
Look at his stats right now. It's incredible how much damage he gets right now.
And he also is going to have Bloodlust there, maxed out by Solo. This is just, it's so hard to deal with. They're actually salving him while he's taking the tower damage to try and make sure that he doesn't drop too low. Tower gone, and DC they smoke. What are you going to do at this point? There's nothing left. He has the Heaven's Halberd done now. They want to try and kill him off. Still another minute before Roche ends up going down. They are going to be able to get off the Orchid and the Global Silence, actually, keeping him back for the moment. Jump forward. Chronosphere is down onto 2. Can they kill them all off? There's the Magnetize. It spreads around a little bit as well. The stun, the silence. It's all gone wrong for DC in this one. Requiem of Souls comes out. No one is low. He wants to die here, actually, and the Raze is going to help it happen as the Aegis is going to be taken back. And the first lane of Barracks down at 22 minutes. GG, they don't want any more. DC got crushed in that one.
Wow, SF just didn't seem like he had a place in the game. I thought he was actually going to do decently well versus the Viper, especially given the start, but...
And that was a 20-minute stump. Looks like VP is as strong.